All right, game number 1 in our best of 3 between Team the Sacre Bleu and the Cuties. We got Beasty and Whamen. Whamen with the English in the color blue. Beasty with the Byzantines in the color teal. We're here on EGC Lipany. Then on the other hand side, we got Lyralia as the Ayubids in the color red. And MarineLord in the color pink playing as the Rus.
Yeah, I think, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but seeing that Rus and Ayubid combo again together, we saw Lyralia in Feudal Age as the Ayubids. They kind of went into more of an archer kind of composition, and obviously with the Rus going into a little bit of knights. But if you're looking on the other side, though, Beasty, or Crackety, I'm sorry, we see Beasty with the Byzantines and Whamen with the English. I'm not seeing a stereotypical cavalry civ on the other side.
Yeah, instead we're getting a little bit of like the HRE kind of vibes of like the fast castle potentially here. But at the same time, the Byzantines, they go fast castle and they pump out a lot of these mercenary units, so could be looking at an aggression play in Castle Age here from Beasty and Whamen. Something interesting to note when you look at the map generation here, between Beasty and Whamen, there's a, what do we call it? An L. There's a pretty big L of a cliff there. I'm not sure if you can actually pass through that. On the minimap, it looks like you can. I'm not sure if in-game you can actually access that wood line, which would be a little bit disappointing. We got something similar over here in the middle between Beasty and Lyralia. But yeah, some funny cliffs there spawning in.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, EGC Lipany or just normal Lipany usually has, especially in a 2v2 situation, might be a little bit of jank. All right, you might have some cliffs that are coming in different areas. You called it an L. I thought it was, I looked at it and I was like, that looks like a hemorrhoid on the map, to be honest with you. But having the ability, Cow is telling me it could be a shoe, maybe a boot. Yeah, there's a little bit of heel on the backside.
Shoe of the Mani too.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like it a lot better than my suggestion, to be honest with you. So, with these players starting to go up into Feudal Age, MarineLord going to be putting his Kremlin down a little bit on the south side, making sure his gold is pretty secure. But one of the things about Lipany that I want to talk about, especially for Beasty and especially for the Byzantines, is you're going to want a lot of these berries out here, right? This is a lot of external olive oil that you don't need to make olive grows for. And even though it's a little bit out of the way, maybe for Beasty's build, at least it'll give you a little bit of buffer. You can make a lot of those oily units.
Yeah, something to note, Beasty's starting berries here, they're in front of his base. That is something that you can 100% harass, and I would assume Beasty would try to defend that one with an early outpost in front of the berries, or next to the berries at least. I'm interested to see where exactly he's going to be placing the outpost in order to defend his berries early on, because I'm going to copy that, whatever he does with that.
Yeah, honestly, this is one of the things that I love watching some of the top players play, because it gives you ideas for you to play as well. I think that why these tournaments are so exciting. But you see Beasty going up at the Grand Winery again, whining and dining. Got a pretty good Byzantine spawn because those berries are going to be right there. The gold is right there. He's going to be able to get some sheep, and a couple straggler trees are also going to help you out. But usually with that, I know you play Byzantines pretty extensively as well. Do you go for that second cistern as soon as that Grand Winery is built?
It depends. It depends. If my opponent is going very aggressively, then I don't go for the second cistern. Instead, I invest the stone in an emplacement on my outpost. It also depends on what resource you get inside the range of your cistern. So if you get your main resource all inside of it, then you're kind of happy with that. It's a difference of 4%, and when you have to make the decision, do I want to get an emplacement on my outpost and be completely safe, or do I want to get 4% more economy? I think taking the safe choice is probably the best one there. And in the end, you can just make more buildings and get more stone, and then you'll just get in a little bit later. Looks like Beasty, though, he's going to opt in for the immediate second cistern. He's going to build an outpost now on his gold. So maybe he knows that the timing in 2v2 with the added map size is not going to be that crucial. Like, he can't get harassed that early. Can we take a look at where the Desert Raider is from Lyralia? I think she actually sent it back a little bit, because that's only the scout there. Where's the Desert Raider? It's in the... Oh no, it's in her own base. But there's no night civilization. She should move out with that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we know that Byzantines are one of those civilizations, Byzantines are one of those civilizations that where it takes a little bit of time to get their feet out from under them, right? They have to do things like get their olive groves and get their cisterns and then their production buildings to get enough oil to get the mercenaries and all that kind of stuff. While you're doing all of those things, having a desert raider just to take pot shots, at some of those villagers at the Grand Winery might slow down getting that first batch of mercantile units right out of the gate. But Lyralia, as you can see, a big difference from what was previously done in this matchup, where she's just going straight for the castle age. She's not worried about doing things like making a bunch of archers. It seems as though she's not really scared of Whamen too much, just because she's on the opposite corner of the map.
Oh, professional scouts getting found out there by Whamen's archers. MarineLord at least is going to be able to snag away 2 of those deer. He's going to get himself some additional food and come safely under his base. At the same time, Beasty, he's walling up his base a little bit, makes it difficult for any aggression to come in towards his side. Cow points out, good walling opportunity there in the back of Beasty's base. Can make sure that nobody is going to run around his base. Knight comes out now from MarineLord. Longbowman a little bit out of position. I don't see any spearmen on the way right now. So Knight should have an absolute field day here.
Yeah, I mean, at least back him up a little bit. It looks like Whamen got a little cheeky with the palings, and they ended up going off. That's probably one of the first times, maybe this month, that I've seen palings actually work the way it was intended. So big shout out to Whamen for ending up pulling that off. MarineLord going to be adding a second knight in this area as well. And this really, I mean, if English wants to get aggressive in feudal age Crackety, you really want to make sure you get that longbowman mass, that critical mass, to make sure you're able to deal with those cavalry units. Having 2 or 3 of those taken away pretty early means you're delaying your time a little bit, which gives for MarineLord's teammate time to get up to castle age.
Yeah, and behind all of that, Lyralia is going to go for a pretty fast castle age. We haven't seen any units out from here, so it's just going to be castle. In fact, I think it's already castle age coming in for her right now. Yeah, it is. We do see the economic ring grow for her being researched right now, halfway through already. Beasty at the same time, he's not aging up anytime soon. Instead, he's adding more and more olive groves around his landmark. Which just gets up his food income there. Is he making units right now? I'm assuming that with his current economy, considering just how small his bank is at the moment, that he must have made some units, and indeed there are some limit out there. Blacksmith also coming in, so might potentially be looking for some aggression now towards... It can't be towards MarineLord, right? Because he's got the Kremlin. Might be towards Lyralia, but she's got an outpost. She's going to be able to age up. And I want to see barracks for Ghoulems. I'm going to be unhappy if it's just going to be Camel Lancers. Because Camel Lancers can be countered.
That was going to be my question to you, honestly, about using Ghoulems or Camel Lancers. Because honestly, for Beasty and the Byzantines and feudal age, making limit Tene, like, that's your thing. That's what you do. And usually your macro ends up being a little bit easier in order to make sure that you get enough limit today. You have a food heavy kind of macro. So now Whamen going to be adding some longbowmen in the back, a little bit of javelin throwers from Beasty as well, just to give you that little bit of DPS. I mean, those javelin throwers have a high base damage. So you're going to be able to, if you are making Ghoulems, maybe you have enough javelin throwers, you might be able to snipe a couple of them. It looks like you only have some desert raiders, those 8 villagers just hanging around the House of Wisdom, looking to get some wisdom by proxy, it looks like, before they vacate in the opposite direction. This is a mass now that Crackety, MarineLord is gonna have to bring some knights over here if Lyralia gets saved.
Yeah, this is where I really dislike what she went for with the double archery range. Just imagine if those two were barracks, and she just gets out like 4 or 5 Ghoulems. They can just push this back.
Well, yeah, because I mean, at this point with these 2 archery ranges, like, what are you gonna make that's good? You know, I mean,
is she getting the upgrade for the archers? I think she is. So veterancy should at the very least be coming in. Yeah, okay, veterancy is coming in. No blacksmith upgrades though, because there's no blacksmith.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Castle Age archers are good, but when you're facing down things like javelin throwers, maybe it can help you kind of with the difference. Byzantines and Beasty going to be able to make a Kyrosiphin, trying to take down using that Greek fire, taking down those houses. It looks like Lyralia ends up getting housed a little bit at 50 population. I think for Beasty and Whamen, this is their basically kind of like their all-in feudal age at this time. For Lyralia, it's put up or shut up time, or they're going to be down 1-0 pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation. MarineLord, he's on 4 stables. He's getting in a lot of food. There's a ton of knights in queue. He's just trying to get them out as quickly as possible. There's a lot of reinforcements in the mid-map, though, that are splitting off the reinforcements now from MarineLord. That's going to be tough for him to come to aid there. At the same time, Kyrosiphin, it's hitting the blacksmith. Now, there is a +5 bonus fire armor that the Ayubids get, so the Kyrosiphin actually doesn't do as much damage here as it could, but it might still be in time to take that blacksmith down before the upgrade comes in, and it looks like that is going to be the case. Actually, yeah, upgrade isn't going to come in.
No, and I think...
the archers are getting pulled.
Those archers are going to be coming in to try to help, and it looks like there's probably 2 or 3 javelin throwers. No, all 4 of them actually end up staying alive. Longbowmen might be able to help, but for MarineLord, for these Roost Knights, these early Knights, there really isn't anywhere for them to go just because of how many spearmen are out here. Lyralia has a little bit of an archer mass, but because of those javelin throwers, because of those longbowmen that are going to be able to take shots at them while they're running away, that mass ends up going down. The archery ranges that Lyralia made ends up going down. It looks like that first one on the right-hand side is going down, while MarineLord at the same time just showing off that APM and those professional scouts going deer pack by deer pack, making sure he can make the most amount of knights possible. But, you know, it's going to take a little bit of time for those to get over there. It's going to take a little bit of time for those professional scouts to pay off to get enough knights, which begs the question, can Beasty make enough limit to where does it even matter?
Professional scouts dealing away the deer there from Whamen. At the same time, MarineLord now looking for some of his own raids. This is a good idea, but Beasty does have reinforcement limit inside of his own base. And MarineLord, he's going to have to fall back. They're probably going to have to collapse on top of the army from Beasty that is forward right now with a combination of those archers as well as the knights. It's difficult, though. Man, the Kyrosiphin is just taking down building after building after building.
Yeah, and it's going for 2 houses at once, practically, because of that Greek fire. Look at that. That first house, or the second house, I should say, is getting targeted, but the first one is getting sprayed by its little version of Greek fire as well. And MarineLord, again, his food is basically just what's coming out of professional scouts. So it's going to be difficult if Whamen is doing a good job with those spearmen and longbowmen, and she is. It looks like MarineLord trying to get some of those reinforcements with those knights, but one of them ends up going down. It looks like all these houses end up going down. It seems like Lyralia, I mean, all of the wood that she needs, she's housed again. She's at 63 out of 50, so she's going to need more houses. She doesn't have the wood to make houses.
She doesn't have wood for it. Oh
yeah.
My God. Yeah, that is so rough right now.
These archery ranges, I mean, they're sitting there. They're like, hey, we have archers. We want to help, but we just can't.
Cancel archers, get houses.
Yeah. Like, it's terrible. It's a terrible situation. She's trying to end up getting more. Kyrosiphin, a second one, takes down all of those houses, takes down another archery range. This is so much wood that she's spending. And I know we talk about score differential and, you know, AoE 4, maybe it's not 100%, but I think it's pretty indicative of what's happening here.
Yeah, 100%. And this is so tough now. Whamen also raiding MarineLord at the same time in the woodline. And Beasty gets the age up behind all of this.
Wow. And I mean, even as it's honestly pretty miraculous, especially as the Byzantines, you know, because you take a lot of time to get your olive groves with Kachu tempo. You're using a lot of food because of your limit to and then those mercantile units are helping you out. So the fact that he was able to actually hit Castle Age, get to the Golden Horn Tower, start making a lot of these mercenaries. Look how many for Beasty. Look how many javelin throwers there are. Like, Lyralia, she keeps making archery ranges, and if she wants to go down 1-0, that's probably the way to do it.
Oh, Beasty, though, it looks like he sent all of his limit knife forward. His base is undefended. He's pulling the Akratoy defense, but that's a lot of villagers going down. MarineLord, he didn't see the villagers on stone. If he did, that would be a massacre right now. Beasty barely gets by pulling those away in time.
Yeah,
a lot of villagers did go down.
He ends up getting saved, but you know the thing is though, Crackety, because I know Beasty is going to be getting that veteran contract, so he will be adding Castle Age units. I'm pretty sure after Javelin Throwers, it's Camel Riders, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough for MarineLord to deal with, especially just having a little bit of that camel at ease, and that camel rider's doing such a good job. Look at all those villagers. Oh my God, there's only 15 spots in that town center, that starting town center where they came from. They're like, hey, you can't go home and you can't stay here either. You got to get the hell out. She's trying to retreat over there on the eastern side, but they still have nowhere to go. Counter raids from MarineLord, doing the best he can to try to keep himself into the game. But now Beasty's teammate, Whamen, is now in Castle Age. MarineLord feels like he probably constantly has to make knights in order to keep his team in it.
Yeah, and a lot of knights he has is going to be able to do a lot of damage now to Whamen's units there. Now Dive also coming in on the Javelin Throwers. That's a very good pick. Needs to get rid of those. As soon as those are out the window, finally the archers can start taking some better engagements against the Libertine.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty difficult. I mean, it's kind of nice for MarineLord just because of all those knights. You're able to take down some longbowmen and all that kind of stuff. MarineLord is going to be able to try to take down a lot of these Libertine, a lot of these units from Beasty. And a lot of those knights, I mean, they end up staying alive, but they're pretty damaged. I think it just begs the question, too, the ability to reproduce all of those units. You know, Whamen's going to be able to. She has a lot of food. She has a lot of wood. She's now in Castle Age, I would imagine, with the King's Palace, so she's going to be able to get buffed up a little bit. While Beasty on the other side, he's been Castle Age. Now there's no knights on his side. He's going to be able to re-wall up, and then you're going to be good to go.
Yeah, exactly. And now he's also getting a lot of monks out. Wants to get the relics. He does have that Grand Winery, so is going to be able to make a lot of get a lot of usage out of those relics. Is going to be able to turn that gold into olive oil instead. That's also like very big value there. MarineLord right now, he's got a lot of gold, but I think he's kind of ran out of those deer from the pro scouts under his TC. So he's going to have to go out on the map for potentially boar or berries or something like that. Which doesn't feel great. Definitely doesn't feel great when you have to take away the berries from a civilization that gets big bonuses for berries. But at the same time, MarineLord is going to be doing a lot of damage here now to Wham, and upgrades are going to be coming in for those knights. So they're going to be very, very resilient when it comes to the arrow fryer from the TCs. And MarineLord, he already did a lot of damage to Beasty inside of his base. It might not immediately look like it, but he definitely did do a lot of damage. And now he's going to find villagers here on the farming economy from Whamen. No reaction yet from Whamen. Lots of villagers going down. A couple of villagers getting pulled now into the TC. That's still a lot of damage. More villagers about to be going down here.
Oh, man.
Oh, no, that's some huge raids now.
That's so terrible, you know, because Whamen, like, she pretty much had her economy. You know, she had everything set in stone. MarineLord is trying to do the best he can to bring his team in, helping, you know, maybe Lyralia, maybe being able to breathe just a little bit. There's some Libertine here from Beasty, just continuing to add on just a touch of aggression just to make sure Lyralia isn't able to completely reboom back up and try to make sure that she stays down from the damage that ends up happening. MarineLord continuing to try to find a lot of these villagers, but have to back up, going with a really anti-knight composition here. Both of these guys, because you're seeing crossbowmen out of Whamen, you're seeing spearmen also, Libertine coming out from Beasty, and I think for them it's just pretty much, hey, as long as I'm able to stop all of these knights, as long as I'm able to stop this Roost player, I should win. It's just taking a little bit longer than honestly I thought it was going to.
Yeah. The question is going to be now, what's the next step here for Lyralia? She has over 2,000 food in the bank. Not a lot of gold. Could be going into mass golems and just try and further dive Beasty space.
Yeah, because I mean, her gold now on that eastern side is actually pretty secure. You know, she has a deer pack over there, and it looks like MarineLord has been dropping off deer in that area. I'm not sure if he was, or maybe he was going to try to yoink his teammate, but otherwise, it looks like she's going to be able to have that food source, maybe able to get back on gold. While this is just showing, to be honest, for MarineLord, although a little bit of a miss micro there, this just goes to show how important mobility is in a 2v2 situation, because MarineLord has been able to, with all of these knights, been able to kite like 30 units just to make sure that his teammate is safe.
Yeah. And that Lyralia is getting some more archers out. I just wish that right now she could just drop like 3, maybe even go up to 4 barracks immediately. And with that, just pump out golems. Like, you want to make use of the food right now. You gotta put the food into units. And golems would be incredible here right now against both the javelin throwers as a frontline with a bonus health. It doesn't feel that great against the Varangian because the Varangian have bonus armor, which is quite nice against the fast attack speed from the golems. But overall, the golems just have such a great amount of health that you're able to make really big use of them as just a front line. MarineLord behind this, he went for a second TC. Lyralia is getting stoned, so might also be looking for a second TC. I think it's a bit greedy when both players are now, at this point in time, going for a second TC. Might be a little bit much for them to hold.
I mean, especially when you're dealing with constant aggression, right? You're dealing with raids on this side. Lyralia is just basically trying to come back from the dead a little bit. Some of these camel riders are trying to be the counter for these nice little Wololo from Beasty, but will end up getting taken out. Second Wololo might be coming in. There's a little bit of put up or shut up going on, but ends up being safe, and those Limit Tene are going to be able to chase. Whamen going to be able to help out on that northern side as well. So those knights have to go in the opposite direction, maybe back to the red player, because, I mean, Beasty, just because they were dealing with the knights that were going on in Whamen's base, right? So there were a bunch of teal units, there were a bunch of blue units all over the place. I just feel like they have to get together and just make that big push.
Yeah, 100%. Now the question is going to be, can Lyralia and MarineLord hold this next push that's going to be coming in their way? Lyralia, she's been getting a lot of stone. I haven't seen her really put it into a building yet. So no second TC has come out so far from her. The food is also dropping a little bit at the same time. Small raids coming in from Beasty over in MarineLord's economy once again. At the same time, big aggression now on the TC from Lyralia. That's all armored units. Does Lyralia have +2 damage on their archers? She doesn't. Oh, that hurts. That hurts a lot right now, not having that. That is such an important thing to have.
Yeah,
targeting on the crossbows comes in late. That's most of the knights that went down now for MarineLord.
And there's that camel on ease too. There's that camel on ease crackety for these camel riders. Yeah. So these knights aren't going to be that great. You know, I mean, the only thing, just because there's only archers here, there's men-at-arms from Whamen, there's Varangian Guard from Beasty. Those archers are shooting marshmallows at those units. So you can see that how they're continuing to stay alive and be the tank. This is an absolute complete wipe by Beasty and Whamen. And honestly, if you're Morelia and MarineLord, just take me to game 2. I'm done with this one. It looked like MarineLord tried to switch to veteran archers, but not particularly going to work out too well for you. Beasty and Whamen taking game number 1, Sacre Bleu, now staring in the face of a loss here if they lose this second game.
Yeah, and I think this all just kind of came down to the unit choice from Lyralia. Like the fast castle, she managed to pull it off, and then she went for archers. Archers, that's kind of slow. Like she had to wait for the veterancy upgrade to come in. She had to wait to mess up the archers. Meanwhile, if she had went for golems, she would immediately have a castle age quality unit that is not just able to take shots against the Limitne, but also be able to tank up a lot of damage from those javelin throwers. So a little bit unfortunate there. The archers just weren't able to come in quickly enough, and a lot of the infrastructure from Lyralia got burnt down by the Kira-siphons. Villager high, 57. Yeah, it's not a lot of villagers. They were able to immediately dive for base. All the houses, just Lyralia has gotten housed for a long time in this game because Beasty just burnt down all the houses. And yeah, that's kind of how the game went on from there.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a really, really good timing push, and maybe a misunderstanding of an army composition that you were supposed to go. You know, instead of the archers, the ghulams, maybe we have a little bit of different story for game number 1. But now game number 2, we're going to see a lot of different civilizations, to be honest with you. We're going to see the Byzantines and the Rus coming from MarineLord and Lyralia, and Beasty and Whamen are going to be going for HRE and Mongols. Beasty and Whamen are going to have Whamen as the HRE actually in the front. It looks like MarineLord and Lyralia on the other side has the Byzantines in the front. So maybe the quote-unquote, you know, civs that might want to do a little bit more camping, a little bit more booming, are right in the face of danger.
Strange danger. And Beasty on the Mongols, he is chopping up that wood. Now the question's going to be, is he going to use that wood for barracks or pasture? I could actually see a pasture type play because it's really cool, but you can actually like get the early pasture and feed your HRE teammate sheep for a potential Burgrave Palace. What's it going to be? It's going to be a barracks. Okay, so we are going to be seeing that outpost rush. Probably not going to be on the gold, but could very likely be on the berries from MarineLord. But looking at the map, there is one spot in particular that I see where MarineLord should be placing his Grand Winery. There is one spot that is really good for a Grand Winery. There it is. Cow knows what I'm talking about. Look at that. You put your Grand Winery there, you protect that with the Kremlin. You're gonna be a happy camper.
Oh yeah, I mean that that winery becomes the most sought after place in all of Constantinople, let me tell you. But that Grand Winery, just being able to get, because remember, that Grand Winery, it's plus 60% olive oil that you usually get out of whatever substance is in its influence, whether it's an olive grove, whether it's a berry bush, all of that kind of stuff. So having the ability to do that is going to be so good. It just means you're getting all of those quote unquote free units from that olive oil, right? Beasty's villager going to be moving across the gorge by his lonesome. Looks like the lone survivor. If you guys have been watching the Fallout series, I hope you have. And these Mongolians are going to be able to try to find a tower somewhere. But I think now that you're talking about gorge, and we talked about this map a little bit, in terms of gold towering, probably not going to happen because of that gold right in the middle. Maybe a woodline tower? Question mark. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, I'm seeing where MarineLord is putting that Grand Winery. It's sad. It's not as greedy as it could have been, but you know, you gotta respect it. It's
yeah, I mean,
protected,
it's gonna be
it's
yeah,
safe.
it's gonna be a little safe, right? That's what's that's what's most important, and hopefully, he will be able to get some of those oiled up units at some point. It looks like Lyralia is going to be going for the Kremlin, kind of near that Grand Winery, just to make sure, because those berries, they are a little bit in harm's way, so that Kremlin's going to be able to protect it. A little bit of synchrony coming out of both of these players. Whamen going to be going for the Aachen Chapel right next to the sheep, right next to the gold. I think, honestly, the pasture play sounds really, really good right now. Trying to funnel sheep in that area, because once those sheep run out, once those berries run out, you got to get some farms, you lose a little bit of tempo.
Is that one tile between the Aachen and the TC in Wham space? It is, isn't it?
Oh, Whamen. Oh, what are you doing? So with the reason why we talk about that is to get a farm, you need a 2x2. You need 2 tiles in order to do that. So those farms will not be able to get in between the town center and the Aachen Chapel. Maybe she'll clear a little bit of that lumber line out on that eastern side. Maybe she can get more farms in that particular area. Usually for the Aachen Chapel, you really want to use it as a lumber camp, as we saw in prior series, because saving that 50 wood and making sure that wood line is inspired, really, really important.
Yeah. I guess Whamen just remembered those narrow back alleys in Heidelberg and was like, yeah, this is HRE. We gotta slim it up a little bit, but yeah, it's not as efficient, but maybe this is the plan. What I could legitimately see is Beasty, he just goes for this like Dark Age kind of play with the spears. After that, in Feudal Age, he just makes pastures. He feeds Whamen the sheep. Whamen goes Burgrave Palace, and then suddenly, if she goes for sheep and Burgrave Palace, the Aachen position doesn't matter that much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. If they do find a way to do that, and honestly, in this particular situation, because I know Lyralia is Rus and she might be going Knights in this juncture, but for MarineLord and being the Byzantines right out in front, men at arms in Feudal Age is something that you really struggle with. It's something that you really deal with. You'd have to specifically go for something like a Silk Road contract to get yourself some Keshiks in order to do any kind of damage. But for HRE, if she's able to get that Burgrave up really quickly, and she definitely is fast castling, her ability to get to Castle Age right now, about 5 minutes into the game, she's already at 900 food and about 600 gold. So she is so close to getting her way up there. I think she is trying to get aggressive. I think I'd be surprised if I didn't see a Burgrave.
Man, I'm just imagining right now like an architect in the Byzantine Empire. He's like, who stamped that permit to build that house there? I'm trying to build an aqueduct over here. Now I gotta go around it.
Man, the amount of extra civil engineering you needed to make sure you get those aqueducts up. But overall, probably one of the prettiest structures that AoE4 has to offer. Seeing Byzantine's aesthetics with those cisterns and those aqueducts are fantastic. Beasty getting pretty annoying with these towers. You can see it over there on the northeastern side. It looks like that tower will be trying to hit that stable. So if a knight does come out, he's going to know about it. Lyralia is going to be able to move her wood line just a little bit, but this tower, getting that tower or that attack notification in your head over and over again, my God,
it's gonna be annoying. Yep.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Behind all that, Silver3 is going in position, so Beasty will start trading sooner rather than later. On the other hand side, Whamen, she's aging up. What is she aging up with? Is it going to be a Regnitz or is it going to be a Grograve Palace? It is going to be a Grograve Palace.
Oh,
all right.
God.
Meat is on the menu, boys.
I hope you like your burger well done. It's been sitting on the grill for far too long. Let me tell you, I haven't seen a Burgrave. Yeah, I haven't seen a Burgrave Palace in some time. So being able to push this one out, making sure she's getting men at arms, I think MarineLord is going to struggle a little bit. Look at the way that he's macroing. However, he has a lot of villagers on those berries to make sure he's getting olive oil. He's sitting at about a 900 food. He's sitting at about 500 gold. So might we be seeing an early horn?
Early what?
Golden Horn Tower, a horn.
Oh, Golden Horn Tower. Okay, had me there for a second. Wait, what? Is that what we're going to be calling it now? Okay, just a horn.
Well, just can you answer the question?
The answer is yes.
Perfect.
We're going to be seeing Golden Horn Tower coming in very, very shortly here from MarineLord. Definitely is going to need it. I wonder if he already has an archery range up in order to get some crossbows out. Because I'm not sure if they scouted the burger. Lyralia did have a knight over there, so I think maybe that knight spotted it. We do see the first couple of men-at-arms are going to make their way over. Knight, unfortunately, it's going to live. Okay, never mind. Doesn't go down.
You know,
And
I'll
the
tell
first
you
couple
what.
of men-at-arms arrive.
For somebody who plays cavalry, when people just chase my knight with spearmen to oblivion, it gets me so annoyed. So really, because she's focused on so many different things, right? MarineLord going to be going with that Golden Horn Tower right next to those berries, and it looks like that cistern level is 2, so it might be just a little bit slower, you know, to try to help, to try to get some of these mercantile units. But here are these Castle Age men-at-arms at a pretty opportune time here. Feudal Age Knights going to be able to get a little bit of a charge, but again, these men-at-arms, they're rather tanky units. You know, they're going to be able to take a decent amount of knight hits. They might not be able to take down the knights, and these longbowmen might be able to help out a little bit, but at least they're causing a little bit of duress. You know, I see MarineLord with that archery range, and you're absolutely right. Maybe getting a couple crossbowmen's a good idea. Whamen going to be able to take down some of these villagers right next to that town center trying to gather sheep. There's 10 garrison, and it just means MarineLord, for how much food that he's on right now, he's only at about like 100 food, something like that. How many crossbowmen are you going to be able to put out?
Yeah, the answer is not enough here, and this is going to become very, very dangerous now for the two of them, because behind all of that, Beasty is trading. Or at least he's going to be setting up trade, which means that the Cuties are going to have a way to scale the economy. Meanwhile, Lyralia and MarineLord, they are both on 1 TC. Now, one of them is Byzantines, which is known for having a very good economy baseline. That's not the case here, because the Grand Winery is very awkwardly positioned inside the base of Lyralia. You can't really position many farms there.
Yeah, no, you really can't. I mean, just because of that Kremlin giving you that area, and then the Golden Horn is also near that winery as well, so it's going to be pretty difficult. Those Keshiks, and plus with the men-at-arms, and actually the Khan arrow makes those men-at-arms just a little bit faster. We were talking about them having marching drills, but having a signal arrow on top of it's kind of a big deal. Veteran longbowmen are going to be able to come in. Knights maybe with a little bit of charge. Lyralia obviously not close to Castle Age. These are going to be Feudal Age Knights in the near future. And Lyralia trying to make as many knights to kind of help out. There's only maybe 1 or 2 crossbowmen I saw over there. But now Lyralia and MarineLord, they can see the trade. Hopefully, Lyralia and MarineLord are talking and being like, hey, this trade we got to deal with. And it's really interesting that the HRE is becoming the aggressive Ziv in this particular map. And especially because of Gorge, it seems like a good idea, because Whamen is going to be able to set the tone. She gets that tempo with the Burgrave Palace and all of those men-at-arms, while BC is going to be able to boom behind this.
What's the feud eco for Whamen like right now on the Archon? she's still on... Okay, she is setting up her farms right now. She's right now at roughly 1,000 food per minute. That's gonna drop very soon and very rapidly, though, as soon as those couple of sheep run out.
Well, yeah, because I mean, even with those villagers, look at where she's going out. She's going out to that deer pack that's in between MarineLord and Whamen's base. So it could be a potential counter raid target if Lyralia has the presence of mind to do so. But there are just too many men-at-arms here. Lyralia has to stay at home. Those heavy maces with +6 to heavy, maybe they might be able to hold their own, but there's not enough men-at-arms here for that Roos Knight mass to encircle. It looks like all of them will end up going down. It looks like Whamen just basically looking for anything. Looking for a villager, looking for a unit to take down, keeping MarineLord and Lyralia busy. Well, on the flip side, if this does become a longer game, Beasty's going to be sitting there with 30 traders in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. That's hurts right now. They want to do different things than what they're doing right now. They want to also be aggressive. They want to deny the trade. Don't have the opportunity to do so, though. But now, the majority of the army from Whamen has been cleaned up. Whamen has now moved out onto the deer, so suddenly her economy is going to be exposed, which leaves her open to raids.
Yeah, and while she's getting that farm economy going, I mean, obviously that tile coming in not as handy. You know, that lumber camp might have to get moved as well just to make sure she's able to get some farms around there. But it's going to take a little bit of time. I think now her teammate has to step up a little bit. A little bit of that trade is going now, and that trade is pretty good. It's at about 100 some per minute. Looks like Beasty does have a couple Keshiks to help out Whamen, but those Keshiks, they are feudal age Keshiks. Going up against feudal age knights, not the trade you want.
Yeah, indeed. MarineLord massing up the units. Beasty is actually floating some food right now. I'm wondering if he's also looking to go up to Castle Age sometime soon. Outpost is getting cleaned up. That's going to deny some vision. And Beasty right now is doing what he's doing best. He's going for raids. He's splitting up units on the right-hand side. Tries to go for multiple different locations.
Yeah, and I really
just going to try and snipe villagers.
Especially as with Keshiks. You know, I mean, Keshiks, as compared to, obviously, Knights are a good raiding unit too, but having Keshiks as a raiding unit and not as a frontline, you know, heavy kind of melee unit really, really helps you. And when you're playing the Roos like Lyralia is, it means you got to go out and get a lot of these food resources because farm transitions isn't something that you want to do as the Roos. So a lot of these Keshiks, they create a lot of villager idle time. Roos Knights for her going to be trying to get a little bit of a charge. Those have to back up. MarineLord going to be adding some of these longbowmen, some of these crossbowmen. Signal arrow perfectly by Beasty just to make sure he's able to get out of harm's way. Only 1 or 2 Keshiks might end up going down on that side. So overall, with all the idle time that he caused, it's just delaying Lyralia. It's making sure, look at how much food she has. She's sitting at about 100 and some. You know, she's continuing to make these knights that are rather expensive. So when Beasty hits Castle Age, when Beasty's able to get a Castle Age military, it's 2 castle militaries against 1. It's going to be an issue.
And can we take a quick check and see just how many traders Beasty has out right now? Low coming in. Oh, okay. Beasty just in time deletes his spearman. And now MarineLord is pushing in with a decently sized army base of crossbows, longbowmen, and a couple of guns yesterday. Got it for free.
Yeah,
Could now harass quite a bit.
Honestly, I think this is the really big issue for what Whamen is trying to do right now, because MarineLord trying to get a little bit of counteroffensive, taking down a trader as well from the Mongolian side. But the issue is she was so worried about being offensive, right? She was worried about getting all of her men-at-arms and making sure she's able to do things like raid her opponent and all that kind of stuff. Didn't worry about towers. Didn't worry about trying to be defensive. And it looks like Lyralia and MarineLord trying to push that initiative. Beasty adding some horsemen that might be doing pretty well against some of those crossbowmen, some of those longbowmen, but we got a couple knights here to clean up. Some of those land snakes, you say it better than I do, Crackety, but some of those land snakes from MarineLord going to make sure that those men-at-arms have some good AoE damage. Beasty going to be able to raid with those Keshiks. Oh my god, being able to idle a Roos food economy, there's no better feeling.
Yeah, the picture-in-picture really comes in there, and then the Keshiks, they're going further, they're going into the woodline. Trade, at least, is getting harassed. Traders are getting killed. But the woodline from Lyralia is getting idled out completely right now.
Yeah,
and now Veterancy has come in as well now.
A lot of these villagers just don't have a place to go. right? I mean, these knights, Lyralia is again continuing to be in feudal age. There's a lot of wood economy over there for MarineLord. A couple villagers might end up going down. Kremlin gremlins with their Bardishes trying to get up here on the north side for some of these Keshiks, but it's not going to end up happening. On the flip side, we got Lyralia and MarineLord. This is kind of their all-in kind of push. They need to do a devastating amount of damage to this HRE player and this Mongolian player if they're going to end up being alive in this series. Whamen has a decent amount of units. Beasty are going to be able to be using those
How many
Keshiks as
Lunstage
well.
does that in
Let me
Whamen's
see.
army?
Let's take a look.
There's 13.
Oh my
And they got
god.
the Kurultai.
Yeah, that's devastating. With that Kurultai affecting both the HRE and the Mongolian units, as long as BC's able to micro that in the correct place and make sure he gets a good battle.
Behind all of that with the raids. Yeah, MarineLord and Lyralia's economy is in shambles right now. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Whamen and Whamen and BC, they haven't taken that much damage. So they're looking absolutely splendid right now.
Yeah, surprisingly, it was pretty good. All right. I mean, just Beasty adding those couple Keshiks really helped him out. You know, making sure, and even just those couple horsemen, making sure that those longbowmen from MarineLord had something else to shoot. But now crossbowman mass from MarineLord, some Varangian guards are going to be able to help out. I think this is the battle right now. And honestly, with that Kurultai starting to unpack, if I'm Lyralia and MarineLord, I'm getting the hell out.
Yeah, definitely don't want to take that fight. But no matter where you go, the Kurultai, it can pack up, it can follow. So eventually there's going to be a fight going in. Once again, Beasty in the backline. Just being relentless with those knights. At least vision is there, so I know that they're coming, but even once you know they're coming, the mobility on them just means that it's very often not going to be enough just knowing when they're coming.
Yeah, I mean, especially because they're comparable to a feudal age knight at that point, just because they're in castle age. It looks like Beasty might get a little bit of a charge with those horsemen, but not going to happen. Kurultai, you see where that landscape is going to be. It looks like Lyralia and MarineLord want to take a battle where that Kurultai is not. A lot of land snakes finally get their swords dirty, and those knights got absolutely disintegrated. Kurultai or otherwise, those knights are destroyed.
Yeah, that's... A lot of those knights were weak, and the Landsknechte were just there to finish them off. Knights once again going for a rise. A lot of kiting coming out. MarineLord trying his best now to get rid of the army here from Whamen while kiting back, while keeping his own units alive. But Landsknechte, every now and then, they're finding connections. They have more movement speed than the military from MarineLord here. Their poles are also in, so they can't fall back forever. And the army is catching up. MarineLord is going to be losing his military. Their horsemen are catching up now as well. And with that, without any military, without any economic way to scale into this game, MarineLord and Lyralia, I don't think they can hold this.
No, I don't think so either. Because look at where MarineLord backed up. He backed up to a corner. There's Whamen walls right here. He's got to sit here and take this against horsemen, against men-at-arms, against some of the own crossbowmen, the Castle Age crossbowmen. MarineLord and Lyralia got absolutely wiped while the Kurultai was starting to get there. Huge, huge issue for Lyralia and MarineLord. I think their Empire duos, their SteelSeries lives pretty much hang in the balance at this point. It might be a quick 2-0 for the Cuties. It looks like Lyralia, Waypoint, a little bit of a problem. Another one or two knights end up going down. Whamen starting to add some spearmen as well, because she has the opportunity to, while raids on this backside, we're not going to be able to catch all of them because so many are going on. Look at all of these villagers. They're running for their lives instead of picking pomegranates out here.
Wait, no, the villagers are MarineLord on the berries. There's Landsknechte there. It's the men-at-arms. Okay, it's just men-at-arms. I thought it was Landsknechte.
Yeah,
They're still going down.
I thought so too. But yeah, there's nothing really to help. And it looks like now Beasty and Wham and the Cutie team are going to be having a little bit of siege superiority. Kurultai finally gets unpacked in the front and maybe moved back just a little bit. MarineLord is like, I don't care about your Kurultai. I don't care about this game anymore. Get me out.
GG. And the Cuties, in this best of 3, take it 2-0. All right.
Wow. This was a rather impressive display from the Cuties, to be honest with you. I love to see that Burgrave emerging victorious, you know, being that I think honestly, it just gave that time. You know, it just gave that time. And BC was so good with those Keshiks. He was so good raiding in the back, just making sure Lyralia was always on the back foot. It was something very difficult for her to deal with, especially when those Keswiks got to Castle Age. And it just got to the point where there were 2 or 3 civs that ended up having an economy, and one just didn't.
There was just no way to scale the economy. MarineLord, he lost so many villagers to these raids, and early on to those men-at-arms just being there, just running under a TC at a crucial point in time. And after that, the raiding continued from Beasty, where it left off from Whamen. It started off with a couple of outposts as well, just being annoying here and there, but the raids were continuous on all the sides, and they just made sure that the Byzantine powerhouse is not going to be able to scale its economy throughout the game, and the Cuties take it with a 2-0 victory. Clean sweep.